Hey everyone, welcome to my library. My name is Melissa, and this is part 2 of my book haul, my chaotic book haul, I think is what I'm gonna call it. Literally the most chaotic filming ever. I'm so sorry about the leaf blower that shows up at the latter clip of this end of the book haul. Yeah, it's a thing, and I'm sorry. But I wanted to start off by just like starting a new clip to say thank you for watching part 1 if you watched part 1. But yes, part 2 is going to be my historical fiction and my family sagas and my historical romances. So those 3 genres. It's still going to be super long, I'm sure. But yeah, I wanted to break it up because I was going to do it in one long video, but it literally would have been the length of a full-blown movie, like 90 minutes long. So we're breaking it up, but I hope you enjoy, and let's go back to previous Melissa talking about the historical fiction, and then it'll jump to me being in the sweater, and you guys will know it's the latter half of the video. So yeah, apologies again for how chaotic this is. Okay, we are back. Round 3 of filming this book haul. Yeah, just got back from the doctor's office and had some lunch. This isn't a vlog, but I'm just letting you guys know like why there's a weird discontinuation in all these clips. But yeah, okay, let's keep going. So the next section that I have for you guys is my historical fiction section, which is definitely the largest of all of these genre picks. And let's just get started. So the first one I have is an author that I got recommended from somebody who was at the Booktube Besties meetup in Bookman's. I didn't catch her name, but yeah, she loves the Booktube Besties, and we met there, and we were all kind of browsing, and she recommended this author, and she said actually her husband really loves this author, and that the currently reading podcast people love this author. I've never listened to the podcast, but I'm convinced to now. So that's another thing that's kind of going on my docket to listen to at some point. But yeah, so this is called Fortune's Rocks by Anita Shreve. And the reason why I decided I wanted to pick this up, you guys are gonna laugh, but like it just immediately when I read it, I was like, done. I'm gonna read it. Everywhere hailed for its emotional intensity and unflagging narrative momentum, this magnificent novel transports us to the turn of the 20th century, to the world of a prominent Boston family summering on the New Hampshire coast, and to the social orbit of a spirited young woman who falls into a passionate, illicit affair with an older man, with cataclysmic results. I don't know why. I know it's weird, but like an age gap romance, maybe it's not a romance, I don't know, but an age gap, like it immediately is an auto buy for me. I don't know why, but it is. Like The Thornbirds is one of my favorite books, and that's a huge age gap. And anyways, it's just a weird thing that I love in books, so whatever. But yeah, so I read that on the back and I was like, yeah, done, I want to read it. So that's this one. Okay, so the next one, also bought from Bookman's, and that is Jubilee Trail by Gwen Bristow. She is an author that I need to read. She's a Southern author. She reads Southern, or she wrote a Southern family saga that I want to read. But this one is actually set in California, and it's set like right during the gold rush, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it says let's see. Against the brilliant panorama of one of the most exciting periods in American history, Garnet Cameron, an elegant New Yorker traveling the wild Jubilee Trail with her new husband and a dance hall performer on the lam, learns tragedy, treachery, and despair, and finally she learns how to meet life without compromise and the real meaning of friendship and love. So I thought that sounded really good. Really super ugly cover in my opinion, but that won't deter me. So there's this one. Okay. The next one is a well-beloved author from many of you, as well as Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. I asked her which of Kate Morton is the author. I asked her which of her books to start with or to get my hands on and read, and she recommended this one. So, and I was excited she said this one because this is set in, well, I think it's initially set in Australia in 1913, but then it goes back to England. But yeah, it's during that time period, and you guys know I love Australian books. So so yeah, it makes me excited for this. Although I think it's mostly set in Cornwall. I could be wrong, but yeah, nice thick book. Kate Morton is definitely an author that I really want to try soon. Especially with her new book that came out, Homecoming. That's been on my buy list. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but that's another book I really want to read by her too. Where were we? Oh my gosh, guys. Yeah, I got interrupted and I didn't find time to film yesterday more of this book haul, so we are going to finish it right now. But I actually have literally 2.5 more piles of books, so when I say that, I mean that this clip is probably going to be another 20, 30, 40 minutes, who knows. But we are gonna get this done, so let's do this. And I'm sorry if I sound really congested. Like I said, I'm dealing with a cold still, so yeah, we're working through it. But anyways, let's keep going. I was in the middle of talking about my historical fiction section of the book haul, and I just finished talking about Kate Morton's Forgotten Garden, which I just got Homecoming on my Libby app via ebook. I've been on hold for it for a while now, so now I don't know what to do. I'll probably just start Homecoming because yeah, I'm only gonna have 21 days to read it, so crazy. I might just read her newest book, but I'm hoping it's good. Anyways, moving on. So the next book in this book haul is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. So this is the book that was thrown in my cart by the Booktube Besties at Bookman's. It's a favorite of all of them, I think. I know, yeah, they were just singing this author's praises, and they also like Salt to the Sea, but yeah, I'm gonna start with this one. This is a World War II historical fiction set in Lithuania, though, and I know that Amanda was saying that this is kind of Ruta Sepetys' like family story, so it's like very much very personal to her, and so that sounds really good to me. So yeah, I'm excited. I know that this is well loved by many, so there's this one. Okay, the next one is the second book in a series that I haven't started. Oh my gosh. But that is The Hidden Palace by Dinah Jeffries. So the first book in the series is called Daughters of War. It's on my shelves already, and it's one I literally think about reading all the time. I don't know why, but it just sounds so good to me. It sounds very Nightingale-esque, like about sisters in France during World War II. And yeah, and then this is the second book in the series. They're nice and thick, which I'm very attracted to. But yeah, so I don't know if there's like a third book out yet or not, but I feel like this is a pretty new release, so probably not. But yeah, I know it's set in France. Or maybe it's not actually. Well, the first one is, I know that, but yeah, here's this one. I love this cover. It's so pretty. So there's that. Okay, this one, yeah, this is gonna be so obvious why I bought this. But I needed a physical copy of Greenwood by Michael Christie. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I talked about this on my channel just recently in my most recent video that was 2 months ago. But yeah, this is my second favorite book of the year. So Foresight Saga was my first one, and definitely this one is my second one. It is a multi-generational family tale, focused on the family that has the last name Greenwood. And it's also like, it just has such evocative writing about trees and about woods and forests, and it was just a magical reading experience. I absolutely loved it. And it's so creatively done too, because it focuses on one character in the family, like one generation per like section of the book. But it actually starts in the future, and then it keeps going back in time, and then it goes from the most like the oldest story, and then goes back to the future again. Back to the future. So yeah, it's a very creatively done book as well. And yeah, I just absolutely love this book. I was so blown away by the writing as well. One of the characters in here like stole my heart, and he's probably my favorite character that I've read in a book this year. Everett is his name. He just has such an amazing story arc in this, where he's very unlikable at the beginning, but you really grow to love him by the end. And anyways, yeah. So highly recommend this book, and I wanted to get the hardcover edition because it comes with this beautiful landscape of like forests. The paperback I think is super ugly personally. It's like showing the rings of a tree on the cover, and it just looks weird. So yeah, I wanted the hardcover. But yeah, this is definitely going on my shelves, and I will reread it at some point in the future. So there's that. Okay, the next book is one I found at Goodwill randomly. I went shopping with Sam to find him some toys. And of course meandered over to the book section while I was there. And I found this book, and I have never read this author before, Jennifer Chiaverini, but I know that she's pretty popular and a lot of people have read her. So if you have, let me know what you think of her books, which one I should read besides this one. Sorry, I have a running nose too. Jeez, I'm just like all over the place. I'm a mess right now. But yeah, so this is Switchboard Soldiers, a novel of the heroic women who served in the U.S. Army Signal Corps during World War I. So I picked this up obviously because it's World War I, and I'm attracted to World War I historical fiction. But I also know that this is a recent print, like a recent book of hers. Let's see when it was printed. I am curious. 2022. Yeah, so last year. And this is actually a first edition, so that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I saw it for like so cheap at Goodwill, so I wanted to get it. So yeah, there's this one. Next book, The Night Train to Berlin by Melanie Hudson. This is another World War II historical fiction book. I found this randomly at Bookman's. It was on display, and I looked it up, and it was rated super highly. And I really love books about like set in trains, or like have sort of like traveling themes to them. And that one is the case for this as well. Paddington Station, present day, Paddington Station, 1944. So sounds like it's going to be dual timeline, and it also sounds like it's going to be a love story. So it says, from the hidden Cornish cove to the war-torn beaches of Normandy on D-Day, this is an epic love story perfect for fans of Pam Jenoff and Kate Quinn. So yeah, I just thought it sounded right up my alley, so I wanted to pick it up. So there's this one. Okay, the next one is the first book in a series that I want to read, and I actually attempted to read this book, but it just wasn't the right time. I don't know. It wasn't gripping me, and I think I just needed a different type of read. So yeah, so I know I want to get to this series, and I want to read it because it is well loved. Specifically by Fiona at Reads and Eats. She really loves this series and she's been reading them. And so yeah, that's The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. So yeah, this is the first book. I think there's 6 of them. And it sounds like it's going to be a love story. It's set in not Berlin. Oh my gosh, it's set in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro. And I think it's centered around the Christ the Redeemer statue somehow. Like the architect who is in charge of it or something. So yeah, kind of an interesting, very interesting set book, like historical time period that I've never read from. So very intrigued by these. And they're all really thick books too. So I love that. So here's this book here. Okay, the next one I got on Book Outlet, and I'm so like, I don't know really why I just like impulsively bought this as part of my big, to get over the $35 limit. But that is We'll Meet Again by Kate Flynn. So this is a British World War II historical fiction. Oh my gosh. The landscapers are here and they're so loud. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, okay, do I stop filming and wait till they're done, or do I just keep going and power through? I'm gonna power through, you guys. I'm sorry if the Leafblower is super annoying. I really hope it's not, but like, yeah, you guys know the struggle that this book haul has been. So like, we're just gonna keep going, okay? But yeah, so this is We'll Meet Again. It says, when war broke out, 17-year-old Christy could have stayed on the family farm in Norfolk, where she was wanted and needed. So why had she joined up? Come to that, why had Meg from Cheshire, I'm sorry if I'm saying all these wrong, Cheshire probably, Sue, very much the big city girl from Liverpool, and Shanna, the life-toughened product of a broken home in Glasgow? Mixed reasons, very mixed reasons, but no time to think now. Not with the sergeant shouting and the station air raid siren beginning to wail. So yeah, all about women in the military over there in the UK, which is awesome. So I love that it's mass market, and I literally have no idea what I'm getting myself into with this, but yeah, here's that. Okay. The next book is a Genevieve Graham book. It's another book I wanted to collect from her. She's a author. I want to read all of her backlist because I loved Bluebird by her. That was my favorite book of last year. And I just got done reading Tides of Honor by her. Not sadly, but like disappointingly, I only gave that one 3 stars. So it was okay, but it wasn't anything like Bluebird was. And I'm just hoping that there are others that are better. So, but yeah, there's this one. I love these old covers of hers way more than the new ones. She's got her covers redone since, and they're all the like women looking away thing. That's very popular. But like, I love the ones that have couples on the cover. That means that it's like gonna be a love story of some kind, and that immediately makes me want to know more. So anyways, I know there's no publishers watching this video, but that's my personal opinion. So yeah, so this one is set, oh yeah, and I should say that Genevieve Graham is a Canadian author, and she writes Canadian historical fiction. So this is set in Nova Scotia in 1939. And I think this one, no, I don't think this one is YA. One of hers is like sort of on the line of YA, and I can't remember if it's this one or a different one, but yeah, so I had to get this. This was on Book Outlet, so I picked it up. Okay, the next book is the second book in a series I have started. Yeah! But that is Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth series. So I read Pillars of the Earth. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. But something just about that series, I'm like attracted to reading more of it. I just want to know more of, like, I know that the books don't really need to be read in order because I think they're so far apart in time, but they're centered around the same cathedral that was built in the first book. So yeah, so this is World Without End by Ken Follett. And I saw it in this edition, and I've never seen this edition before. I saw it at Bookman's, I think. Yeah. And I wanted to pick it up because it looks like it's going to be a really readable copy, and also very beautiful and easier to fit on my shelves. So yeah, so I got this one. Huge, thick book too. We'll see when I get to that one. Here's another thick one. That is Belle by Leslie Pierce. So I got this on Thrift Books. This is a book I've had on my TBR for years now, guys. This is a book kind of like a redemption story, I want to say, about a woman who was abducted and sold into like sex slavery, and then somehow gets out. And it's also like historical fiction. So it sounds really intense, but also could be amazing. And I know that there's some sort of love story in here too. And it's been recommended to me before, and so I think that's why it was on my TBR. But yeah, I just really wanted to pull the trigger on this because it's just been on my TBR for so long. So I wanted to own a copy. Yeah, so that's the reason. It's kind of a beat up copy, not gonna lie, like the plastic is coming off. But it's fine, it'll be readable, so that's all that matters. So there is this one. Okay, the next book I bought new on Amazon because it was highly recommended by Genevieve Graham and on her Instagram, and also it's blurbed by Diana Gabaldon. Like, I'm just like, what the heck? What, like, that's amazing for this author to get that. I think this is his debut. But this is Someday I'll Find You by C.C. Humphreys. A beautiful cover. I love it. And I love the couple on the cover. Like I said, it's what really attracts me to a book. But it says, by best-selling author C.C. Humphreys, okay, no, so not a debut, and inspired by his parents' true story, a dazzling novel about a spy and a pilot who fall in love, but are wrenched apart during World War II and must find their way back to each other. That sounds amazing to me. Yeah, love a love story. That's my main thing in like historical fiction that I'm looking for, is a love story. If I can find it in one, that's top tier for me. So yeah, I just want to know what the hype is with this, because there's some major hype by some authors that I love. So yeah, I think this is a 2023 release though, so it's very new. But let's see if it's 2023. I want to know, actually. Yeah, 2023. So there's that. Okay. We're going to keep going with the historical fiction World War II books. Yeah, I love them. I know that they're super saturated market, but yeah, it's my thing. But the next one is Into the Darkest Day by Kate Hewitt. This is a World War II book, couple on the cover, so we know it's going to be some sort of love story. And it says, I think it's like a couple torn apart kind of situation. Let's see. A heart heartbreakingly powerful, epic love story about courage, friendship, and broken trusts. Into the Darkest Day is an unforgettable story, perfect for fans of Nora Roberts, Kristen Hanna, and The Notebook. That's interesting. Like, that's a very interesting pick of like who you think this book would be catered to. Yeah, I love all of those authors. I mean, I don't love Nicholas Sparks, but I love The Notebook. So very interesting. Yeah, and I super want to read it. So there's this one. I'm sorry I always say there's this one and then put the book away. I need to stop saying that because I think it's getting annoying. Another Genevieve Graham, I should have linked this when I was talking about Come From Away, but that is Letters Across the Sea. So this is another book of hers. I think it's World War II. 1930s Toronto, actually. Excuse me. So that's cool. And, it's two timelines, 1933 and 1939. Set in Toronto, though. So that's awesome. I have no idea what it's about, but I'm just trying to collect all of Genevieve Graham's works. So I wanted to get the older cover, but I guess I got the newer one. That's okay. But they're still beautiful. So there's this one. I said it again. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Okay, this is one that's been majorly hyped that I've seen on many people's Instagrams and channels, but it was recommended originally by someone when I was attending the Booktube Besties summer retreat. It's a Zoom meeting that they host that is like limited seating, and we spent a weekend reading together, and it's awesome. A 24-hour period, actually, really. But there was someone on there that recommended this book to me, and that's Beyond That, the Sea by Laura Spence Ash. And I've seen it recently on Krista's channel. And yeah, I really want to read this book. It says, a sweeping, tender-hearted love story, Beyond That, the Sea introduces two families living through World War II on opposite sides of the Atlantic Ocean, and the shy, irresistible young woman who will call them both her own. So amazing. Like, I know that this is set in London and also in Boston. So that's really cool. But if it's a love story, I will read it. So yeah, if you guys have read this, let me know. Because I want to know, what the general consensus is on this. I know it's a really kind of recent release too. So I decided to pull the trigger on it on Amazon, but I love the cover too. I think it's so beautiful, and I love that it's super floppy too. So, yeah. Okay, two more historical fiction books, and then we're going to family sagas and a tiny historical romance haul as well. So, the next book is The Girl with the Golden Scissors by Julia Drostin. Can't remember where I learned about this, but it's translated by Deborah Langton. I'm not sure what language it's translated from. Let's see. Translation from the German. So that's cool. A sweeping tale of a woman's quest for love, family, and self at the start of World War I. So, hence why I bought it. World War I, immediately want to buy. And yeah, I don't know. I think this has, obviously it has something to do with like tailoring. But from that point, I don't really know anything other than it's sort of a mix. I think when I was looking at buying it, it's sort of a mix of a historical fiction book and a historical romance. Like, there's definitely a super strong love story in here. So that's interesting too. So, yeah. Okay, last one, and it's not World War II or World War I. So, heyo. That is Sawbones by Melissa Lenhart. I love this cover. That was what initially drew me into it. But let me just read the back since it's a really short blurb. Um, it says, with the untamed territory of Colorado as her most likely refuge, she packs her physician's kit and heads west. Oh, sorry, I didn't read the first part. Wrongfully accused of murder, Dr. Catherine Bennett is destined to hang unless she can disappear. So then she heads west with her physician's kit. But even with a new life and name, a female doctor with a bounty on her head can hide for only so long. Sawbones is the first novel in a gripping historical fiction series. The feminist western is one of these blurbs. That's cool. Yeah, I'm all about it. All about it. Doesn't this sound right up my alley? If you guys know me at all, I love western books. And it's a female doctor, which is super cool. Yeah, it just sounds amazing. And if it's a series too, that makes me super excited. Yeah, all about it. So I picked this up, I remember, at Half Price Books. Literally had no idea it was a thing. Like, it wasn't on my TBR or anything, but it's one of those books that you just kind of find at a bookstore and know you're gonna love. So yeah. Anyways. Okay. That was my historical fiction haul 25 minutes later. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it was a lot of like World War II, World War I, but that comes with the territory. But now let's move on to my family sagas and historical romances. We've got one rather large pile of them, and then we'll be done. So let's get going. Sorry, I'm trying to pull them over. They're all stacked on this piano bench right here. Okay. So I'll start with my family sagas first, and then we'll move on to my historical romances. I only have 3 historical romances, so they're going to be short. But this one is On Leaving Charleston by Alexandra Ripley. As you guys know, I love her writing in Scarlet. She wrote Scarlet, which is the like unofficial sequel to Gone with the Wind. And I loved that book, even though it's so unpopular on Goodreads. It's got like the lowest rating ever on Goodreads, but I personally loved it. And this is her series. I think it's just called Charleston series, but it starts with Charleston. And I really want to read that. It's actually, if there's a book that I literally like want to read tomorrow, I put it on my TBR cart over here. And I put it on the top shelf because I want it like in my view. And that is one of them, is Charleston by her. And then this is the second book in the series. I actually already owned a copy of this, but it was in the newer edition and I wanted the older edition. Specifically, I was taking a chance and I wanted to see if I could find the one with the step back. And so I knew this was going to be the older edition, but I bought this one on a whim. On Thrift Books, hoping that it would be the one with the step back, and unfortunately it's not. It's a fake step back. I'm so sad because the step back to this book is so amazing. So I'm going to be on the hunt to find this book, but with the step back, for sure. But I'll keep this one in the meantime and then get rid of my newer one. So this is the second book in that series. Okay, the next one is one that I was recommended this author again at the Booktube Besties summer retreat. Someone recommended a different book by her, but the author is Anna Lee Waldo. She's known, I think her most popular book is the other one that this woman this lady on the Booktube thing recommended, and that's Sacagawea. But this one sounded more up my alley. Wow, the Leafblower is super loud right now. It's like right next to where I'm filming, so I really hope you guys aren't annoyed by that. But okay, it's distracting me. But the one that I wanted to buy is Prairie. Look how thick this is. Yeah, this would literally take me probably 2 months to read. And the font is not even forgiving at all. Like, yeah, this is gonna take me forever. Oh, interesting. In the middle, it's got like pictures, like real pictures of the time period and where this is set, I guess. So that's cool. I like that a lot. Okay, the next is 3 books in a series. So it's a series I've had my eye on for a long time. And a lady that I follow on Facebook Marketplace who sells super cheap books, crazy cheap, like 2 or 3 for $1 cheap, was selling the series for $1. And I finally was like, yay, I'm gonna totally buy these because, yeah, I knew about them beforehand. And that's the Barodins series. Love and Honor is the first one. War and Passion is the second one. And Fate and Dreams is the third one. So it's... The first book is actually set in Russia. And... it says, this is the story of the Borodins, one of the families who for centuries steered the golden destiny of Russia amid the sabled court of the Tsars. The dynasty that rode high to the crest of power only to reach the brink of a rebel-torn new age. Sounds awesome. I don't really have that many Russian historical fiction, but I'm very attracted to it. I know this is weird, but maybe just from my heritage itself. I'm actually half Russian, but I'm adopted, so I don't know, like, I just know genetically I'm half Russian. My birth father was. So it just kind of makes me intrigued to read Russian stories because, it's part of who I am. So, there's these 3. Very excited to own this series and start it. And yeah, so old school. I gotta, like, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So there's those. These 2 are part of a series I also really want to read. And, like, I had every intention to start the first book in this series, like, 2 years ago. And I don't know what happened. I never did. And it's still on my shelves, and I'm so embarrassed about it. But it will happen because I love where these books are set. So they're set in Australia. It's the Outback series by Erin Fletcher. The Outback Saga series. So the first one... What is the first one called? It's on my shelves and now I can't remember. Sorry, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, it's a super, like, epic family saga series set in Australia. And I'm actually not sure which numbers these are, but I also love the step backs in them. They're pretty cool. Very, like, this one reminds me so much of the movie Australia, with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman. It definitely gives those vibes. But, so this is an incredible condition too. Like, no crack on the spine or anything. So there's this one, Walkabout. And let's see. Outback is the first book in the series. Then there's Outback Station, which I don't own. And then this is the third book in the series, Walkabout. And then Outback Legacy. Here's the step back. Cool. And there's raised, like, lettering, and also just, like, it's shiny and beautiful. I don't know. I'm obsessed with these covers. But this one, let's see, is number... So Outback Station, Walkabout, Wallaby Track is the 4th one, and then this is the 5th one. So I own the 1st, 3rd, and 5th now. So I need to find the other 2, obviously. And start the series too. I need to do like a month centered around reading my Australian historical fiction and family sagas books. Because I have so many on my shelves that I have yet to read. Maybe in the summertime, like right in the middle of July or something. That would give me that vibe. Excuse me. Anyway, so yeah, I own these 2. Excited about it. Okay. Those are my family sagas that I bought, acquired. So we're down to one last genre, and that is historical romance. And I have 3 here. So the first one is one I saw at Pioneer Book, at that bookstore that is my favorite. And it's an author that I love, Georgette Heyer, and it's Lady of Quality. And specifically, I bought this because it's a Signet Regency romance, which I don't own any of, but are well loved by Steve Donahue. And yeah, he loves these books, and he just eats them up. And yeah, I wanted to own one, but I wanted to own one in a by an author that I already know I love, because I know I'm gonna like it if if the author is familiar to me. So so yeah, I love this cover. I love how old school it is. I love that it's in really, really good shape too. And yeah, so that's what made me buy this one. Okay. The next one is Penelope Williamson, which she is a favorite author of mine. She wrote, oh, now I'm really embarrassed. She wrote my favorite book of 2021. And I literally can't remember. Like, I have such pregnancy brain if it isn't obvious. Heart of the West, right here. Yeah. She wrote Heart of the West, which, yeah, it was my favorite book of 2021. I just loved it so much. And this is another book of hers, The Outsider. I have to read the back of this book because the plot for this is so interesting, so unique. So let me read it. A daughter of the faith. All through the years, Rachel Yoder had never been afraid, for the creed of the plain people had been her strength. Then the day came when lawless men killed Rachel's husband in an act of blind greed. Now in this long hour of fear, the outsider walks across her meadow and into her life. A stranger with a gun. His name is Johnny Kane. He is bloody, near death, and packing 2 pistols and a knife. A man hardened by a violent past, Kane has never known someone like Rachel. A woman who offers him a chance to heal more than his physical wounds. A forbidden love. Kane's lazy smile and teasing ways steal her heart and confound her soul. Soon Rachel is forced to choose between all she holds dear, her faith, her family, perhaps her very salvation, and the man they call the outsider. So yeah, there's definitely a huge faith element to this book, and it's kind of like star-crossed, where he's obviously not of her faith and she is a very devout person. So that's going to be so interesting. And when I showed this book on Instagram, Melissa from A Duchess Inside, she was like, I love this book so much. So that's exciting to me that someone else knows this book. So yeah, I got this one. And then the last book, guys, we're in the literally last book of this haul, and I know that the leaf blowers are still going, and it's so annoying. So I'm trying to like quickly do this, but that is No Ordinary Princess by Pamela Morsi. The only reason I picked this up is because the blurb on here says, like Laverell Spencer, Pamela Morsi writes tender books about decent people struggling to find love. Say no more. Like, that's all I need to know. I love Laverell Spencer, as you guys know. She is like my favorite historical romance author. And to hear her, like, to hear Pamela Morsi compared to that, and to know that I'm in, like, that kind of story is in store here, that's what made me want to buy it. And it's in really good condition too. So yeah, there's this one. Set in somewhere in the West, from what I know. And here comes the leaf blower, guys, like right next to my window. So I'm yelling at this point. So I'm going to be cut off. Thank you so much for watching this book haul. If you got all the way through, please like and comment and subscribe if you want to see more from me. And I will see you guys in another video. Bye!